And now,
it's 10 a.m.
Let's just get down to it.
And it's time for your sports fix.
Strap yourselves in, folks.
From two guys who have covered the teams you're passionate about for years.
We are professionals.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. Hope you're having a fine Wednesday. How are you doing over there, Ben?
Always having a fine Wednesday.
Is it not Wednesday?
'Tis.
Oh, okay. I was worried I mixed that up for a second.
Nope.
It's kind of weird not having a game for
Weeks, feels like.
a long time.
And there's no college football games to wait for. So, yeah, the schedule now officially gets very screwy for us.
So, good times.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to dive right into to basketball season. We will obviously still today talk college football. I even had a chance to talk some high school football last night, Ben. I went to our banquet for our high school players of the week.
Yeah.
And
did you rig it?
no, but a Skyline quarterback did win one week,
Okay.
Xavier Kachi.
Shout out, Xavier.
And they got these cool watches from Rockwell
Oh, nice.
that have the logo of the high school and
Oh, really
have an
cool.
engraving on it. It was like if you're giving out something like a trophy or whatever, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But so I went up to him and asked to see it because I wanted to see the Skyline thing, and then I ended up talking to his mom for a long time because she's very nice, but they're from New Jersey and they moved out here, and she's like, if PK obviously from Jersey, like reminded me very much of PK, like a lot of opinions.
Yeah.
And then I found out in the pathway of the conversation that she went to Virginia Tech.
Oh, wow. Well, this is your dream woman.
I'm telling you, I connected with this
got
gal.
married too early.
I really. She told me she was Michael Vick's tutor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They were there at the same time, and she was an English something or other major and part-time job as a tutor for the football team, and was
Wow.
Michael Vick's tutor.
Shout out, Miss Kachi.
Wow. Yeah. And her son even came around and he overhears our conversation because he was talking to Christian or somebody else. And he's like, "Are you guys talking about Michael Vick?" Like, it was really funny. But talking to her, Ben, transitioning into the news of the day, because it did get me thinking. Yesterday, after the news about Utah selling out its athletic department, I guess I'm not changing my opinion, but I might be a little more understanding, and I guess let me explain it to you. But my wife texted me a link to an article yesterday, and she's like, "What do you think about this?" And I said, first of all, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
And then
This is what our whole show is about.
and then I said, I hate it. I hate everything about it. I hate what it does for college sports. I hate it that a local team, Utah, is first. I just, I think we've lost the purpose of it all. When she texts back, she goes, "Well, tell me what you really think."
Yeah.
It's like, well, I suppose I did have an opinion about that. And again, I'm not going to change it, but maybe be a little bit more understanding from this perspective. So she was telling me about the culture of the school surrounding Skyline football. Mm-hmm. And Skyline has really been terrible pretty much since I've been there, or at least like the early aughts, after they were the football program in the state.
Yep.
All like 4 years I was in high school, they won state. And so the culture surrounding the school, Ben, was football is the most important thing in the history of Skyline. I mean, it was, it was a priority. School was let out, like at 10 a.m. for a 4 p.m. state championship game. You know what I mean? Like it was a huge deal. Mm-hmm. And now, granted, she's just moving in, and her son is the star quarterback, and her other son is like the star fullback linebacker, and she's obviously biased in her perspective. But she told me that she doesn't think that the school has like big football culture.
At Skyline.
Okay. And it just floored me because it was like, well, that is 100% the opposite of when I was there. And I guess it made me a more understanding of Utah's decision-making. Like, if you lose it, if you lose the culture and it goes away, it's tough to get back.
See basketball.
see basketball. It's tough to get it back. And if you feel like you have to do something just to continue that football culture at Utah is really good. And I'm not talking about the team. I'm talking about the
identity.
Stadium,
Yeah.
the tailgate, the merchandising, there is tons
the excitement, yeah.
There's tons of juice in the Utah football program because they've won big since 2003.
Mm-hmm.
So they've built that. I mean, that's 20 years of building something. I get why it would be frightening. Maybe that's not the right word. I get why you wouldn't want to lose it. And that you may go to some drastic means to raise capital, which I don't like the concept of it. I don't like it. I don't. But I kind of thought about it, and I'm a little more, I guess, understanding, taking a step back and having a realization that nobody cares about football at Skyline anymore. Before this year, by the way, because they had a really good year, so maybe it's on its way back. But that came as a bit of a shock to me. By the way, a Highland kid won too.
Go Rams.
And his family was very nice. It was a cool thing.
Did you steal the watch for me?
No, I wasn't going to rob one of the high school players of the week. No,
Okay.
I wasn't going to wait for him
That's
outside.
why we're different.
Outside a broadcast house, lurking in the shadows.
That's why I didn't get invited.
Going to steal from the
And I like watches.
They were, by the way, pretty awesome.
Very cool.
Like those young people are going to be wearing those watches. Pretty awesome.
As I said yesterday regarding Utah's $500 million or whatever the number is going to be, I want to say sellout, but, a deal that they have made with Otro Capital.
No, they sold out
to
by
invest in the
definition.
program.
Sure.
As I said yesterday, I'm skeptical of it. And I'm skeptical of it not because I don't understand the motivation. You look around you, and there are going to be, as I say, the cans and the can'ts. Not the haves and the have-nots. Utah is a have. Utah has won at a very high level in college football. Every year they're a top 15 team in the country. I know last year they weren't, but they are again this year. Like, this is the expectation for Utah. So I understand the desire to keep that in place and then want to have upward mobility still. And I don't just mean in the rankings. I mean, if this dream of going to the Big Ten or making this final cut that we imagine is going to happen between the SEC and the Big Ten, where they lump in a couple of other schools and trim their own fat, and you've got to be in that group, otherwise you're going to be a second-class citizen when it comes to the sport. And you may already be, with all due respect to everybody involved, but look at what the College Football Playoff told the Big 12 already this year. So again, I understand it. I'm skeptical of it, and I don't think it changes the fact that, man, I remember covering the Pac-12 and looking at Cal and looking at a lot of these schools. It's like, wait, you're how much in debt? You're how much in the red with your program? And then you look around and you're like, yeah, I get why your program stinks. Like, you were really bad with money, and a lot of it went into building stadiums and athletic facilities when they didn't have the money to do it. But it does actually come at a cost, and I don't mean financial. I mean you don't end up having the ability to invest other areas of your program because money gets really tight. And yeah, maybe you're living high off the hog for a moment because you get a new stadium or you get a new NIL player, but is it built to actually last? And I guess the counter to that would be, well, if it's not built to survive at all, it's better to survive for another 10 years competing at this level than it is to not have a chance. And maybe it felt desperate behind the scenes at Utah. Maybe they did feel like, hey, if we don't fix this now, we're going to fall behind extraordinarily quickly. And maybe they already felt like they were behind the eight ball when it came to competing with revenue sharing and with NIL. So, I understand it. I'm just skeptical of it. And yeah, it's like if I were to get a job at a law firm and decide, oh man, my Toyota SUV is not good enough, so I better go buy a Range Rover so I fit in. Well, if I can't afford a Range Rover and I lose my house, it doesn't matter if I have a job at the law firm. It doesn't matter if I'm financially insolvent. And that's honestly what I would worry about for Utah is that at when it comes time to pay the piper here, is this going to be worth it? And it better be.
I don't know. I think that's a big question.
And yeah, there's no way to know. And honestly, we don't have all the details yet of what this is going to look like and how it's going to work.
A couple of things. One, you shouldn't be afraid to say that they sold out because that's quite literally what they did. They sold their athletic department, at least in part, to...
Yes, Otro Capital.
Otro Capital. That is a fact. That's what we learned yesterday. So using that term is not offensive. In fact, it's accurate. Is it desperate? Very much.
You think so?
how could you not view it as desperate? And that they went first? Absolutely. They and refer back to what Guy Holiday was talking about in his tweet yesterday, where they were not leading the way. That's not his words, but he indicated they were not huge in the NIL game.
Yeah.
And you talked about it yesterday. It's trying to keep up with, Ohio State, Texas Tech, whatever, the creme de la creme. They're desperate to do it. They don't have revenue sources. They've tapped out everything else.
Yeah.
And now they're doing this. So that also is an accurate term that we shouldn't be afraid to use, because they basically admitted that in more flowery language.
Other than the first thing that President Randall said up at Utah was, this gives us some exciting opportunities in NIL. Didn't even hide it. This is just about paying the players.
Now, rewind the tape a year ago. What was Mark Harlan saying coming out of Utah about the future of the program? He was talking about the House settlement. Said the salary cap. This is really going to be great for Utah. This is how Utah stays, as competitive with the big boys. Well, it turns out that nobody wants to sign on to that, basically to limit it to just that, and nobody's going to adhere to those rules, and NIL isn't going away, a subject that you and I have talked about at great length. So what are they going to do now? Mm-hmm. And this is it. It's not get more money from the Pixar guy.
Yeah.
It's
right. They don't feel clearly that there's a pathway through their current donor base to compete at the level of the Joneses, which could be Ohio State or Texas or BYU and Texas Tech.
And listen, Utah's actions when it comes to NIL, and don't get me wrong, but it's been very thirsty and it's been very crowdsourced. Mm-hmm. The Garfs, certainly deserve their due for spearheading the entire operation. I'm sure it cost them more than a couple of bucks. But for the most part, it's been that crowdsourcing and that sort of thing, and it's just not going to keep up. So, yeah, if they're going to keep up, if they're desperate to keep up, then that's exactly what that is. Now, I did actually had a friend call me to get my opinion on what happened yesterday. Again, I responded with thanks for listening.
Did you see this?
No, he's an important guy.
Yeah.
He's working. But Ben, I'm glad he called me, because he strikes me as a really typical passionate Utah football fan. Uh-huh. He's got tailgate pass. He's a football season ticket holder, but not in a suite, just normal every day. Makes a decent living, but it's not like he's a zillionaire. Mm-hmm. Like pretty normal, I think, like zone listener, passionate Utah fan.
Yeah.
And he was disheartened because he feels like it's a little bit going to the professional side is taking a little fun out of it. Uh-huh. But his main fear was that everything was going to be priced through the roof. And he's the type of guy that bought a red couch. Uh-huh. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's a diehard.
He's got a Utah Mickey blanket. He's worried. He's worried that all that stuff is going to go through the roof, and they're going to get no reprieve on tickets or donation, Crimson Club or any of that sort of stuff. And maybe that comes to fruition, and maybe it doesn't. But I thought it was interesting to talk to somebody who's pretty dialed into the world about what they're worried about, and that's the big thing. They're going to get priced out of it.
Yeah.
Because it's for profit now, and there's somebody else that needs to get paid. So where's that dough going to come from?
Yeah, you've essentially added a middleman, and that middleman is a group of probably smart investors that knows how to make money back and is well-versed in the world of sports and knows where to get their money. And they didn't invest to lose a bunch of money. This isn't a donor. The funny thing about boosters is inherently you lose money. You're designed to lose money. You give $1 million to BYU for Keanu Tanavasa to transfer or any name.
Yeah, you're flushing it down the toilet.
You don't get that back.
Yeah, right.
You don't get any money back from that. You lose your money.
No ROI, as they say.
So, yeah, other than maybe some smiles. You get to hang out with the players. Yeah, whatever it is. So, and then, by the way, that could have been any player at any school. Utah does the same thing.
We get it.
So, that's not the case anymore. So, yeah, they're going to find ways to get that money back. And it's going to come through concessions and, yes, merchandising and trademarks and merchandising, season tickets, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I do think that aspect of it is going to get worse. You've introduced a middleman into the whole process.
The problem with the sweet corporate culture that sports is evolving into is you do price people out of it. Mm-hmm. It happens in every market. It's happening in every market where you absolutely price people out of it. And in the case of pro sports, the secondary market doesn't help any either.
Right.
Because teams would rather be putting that money in their pocket as opposed to Ben Anderson, ticket broker, putting money in his pocket, right? And so it's kind of a feed the beast kind of thing. But it brings me back to what college sports is supposed to be about. Back to my buddy. An alumni that lives a normal life should be able to afford to attend his school's football games.
Right.
That should be a priority for universities. That's why amateurism was a thing. That's why is because it was about something else. It was about something for the school, the alumni to provide and provide back. That was the point. And now all that, I mean, if I'm a normal fan, I am worried about being priced out of it. I've talked to multiple BYU fans lately that got priced out of basketball real quick, you know? And I think it should be a priority for these universities to not price their fans out of it because it's not supposed to be about profit. And I sound like a geezer waving my fist at the clouds, but it's the reason the sport is popular in the first place. And
it's a little bit of the, as I say, Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail, which is where we start this conversation, is you saying, well, I understand why they have to sell out to maintain the culture. The problem is, what part of the culture do you lose when you sell out? And is that because now only corporate sponsorships can afford good tickets or access to the players or whatever this is? And then all of a sudden you end up with, and I'm just more well-versed in the NBA than I am any other sport, but like notoriously watch a Houston Rockets game or a Miami Heat game, and like the lower bowls are not full for the first 45 minutes of the game. And it's not because fans are lazy.
Oh, Miami.
The fans are in the upper bowl.
Well, Miami fans are terrible.
All the corporations there, though, buy up all the tickets, and it's a bunch of people who are there to show off that they're there and not to actually be a part of the fan base. You know, they're there because it's a business opportunity to take and wine and dine whoever your client is or whatever that situation is. Houston's a huge tech hub, or not a tech hub, but like a business hub. And Miami's just kind of a showy area anyway. So, yeah, the culture that you lose might actually be the fan base that allowed you to get to this point in the first place. And I'm not trying to sound the alarm and say Utah football is dying. I don't think that's the case at all. And in fact, what I said, if there are two people that this really helped yesterday, you and I, because it's good for us if the product is good on the field, because that's what we talk about. You and I aren't putting money in the program. And the fan who sits on the couch and loves Utah but doesn't spend $1 on the team, doesn't have the red couch, doesn't have the Minky blanket, doesn't have season tickets, doesn't travel to the games, doesn't actually have any real financial skin in the game. Good for them, too. They just get to watch other people's money at work. And by the way, if you're a fan and you can do that, God bless you. I think that's a great way to do it if you don't have to be financially invested.
Well, let me ask you this question, and I don't know, because I can find examples either way, and this kind of brings us back to Skyline football and the culture surrounding the entire school. Is what Utah's built at Rice Eccles and beyond that we're talking about, is it all about winning? Is winning the only reason that is? That they've been competitive? I won't even say all about winning because it's not like they've won a national championship. They won the league twice and a Fiesta Bowl and a Sugar Bowl. So is it all about winning?
It's more about winning at Utah than it is at BYU.
Okay.
And I think it's probably more about winning at Utah than it is with the Utah Jazz. That arena is full for the Jazz, and this team has stunk for years.
I thought about that. Well,
this team has been really bad for years. It's been a bad product for several years. And unless you're a diehard who likes the building process of the young players and seeing Cody Williams and Taylor Hendricks and now, Ace Bailey and Walt Clayton, which maybe are a brighter upside, I don't think it actually has that much to do with winning. People love the Utah Jazz. And again, I'm curious because people have abandoned Utah basketball in droves.
And maybe, this might be a bigger conversation because the winning leads to the loyalty and the culture and stuff. They're not unrelated, right?
Yeah, of course.
Lavelle Edwards said what he was most proud of was that he built BYU into a game day event, which he no doubt did. And it's maintained, to your point about it's less at BYU, it's maintained its support for the most part through it all and through some deserty stuff. Now, I remember the Gary Croton era and things were getting a little lighter. And when I say lighter, it's like 3/4 full. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And when Kalani was losing to UMass there for a second, it was getting a little lighter. But for the most part, it withstood independence pretty well. I would say. And now it's a different world. Like Utah's bowl opponent, Nebraska, they haven't been good forever. It's still 100,000 people in Lincoln every single week.
It is.
So at some point, it is more durable, I would say. Is Utah to that point? Utah basketball won big from 90 to 96.
98?
98? No, 98. You're right. It was longer than that. So 90 to 98, and then it kind of limped along for a while.
Pretty respectable, but certainly not great.
So obviously it was not that durable. So there's a different example. I wonder where Utah football is on that, because obviously they're desperate to win. So they think that winning is a big part of it.
Yeah.
And again, it is related. But I wonder how durable Utah football support is. The sellout streak continued through Witt's 4 and 8 seasons.
Yeah.
So there was some shaky stuff in November there for a little while, and support seemed to go pretty well. But that was when they were new in the Pac-12, and that was all still fresh.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I do think they're desperate not to lose it.
I think you're right. I think they probably have 3 losing seasons in them before I think fans would really start to bail. Honestly, I think you could get a new coaching hire. If you were to, if Witt were to retire, you bring somebody in, they don't do a good job, you would give the next guy an opportunity. And if that were to fall apart, I think you would start getting fans checking out. But you know what? The nice thing they have, the same way the Jazz have this huge dedicated fan base right now, is people our age. I'm almost 40. You're in your mid-40s. Grew up, if you were in Utah, seeing a great Jazz product your entire childhood, and that just endears you to a team forever. And now you are going to get a next generation of people who either went to the University of Utah or grew up watching it, and it was a really good product from 2004 to 2025. Like, you do build up a lot of equity with the fan base that will be a lifelong fan base for your football team. And football's easy to follow because they only play 6 games at home, and it only takes up a few months of the season. So I do think it has the ability to withstand, but I do think winning has to be a part of it. I think you're right. So it's interesting that Skyline has fallen apart that way.
I wonder how durable Utah football has become. I wonder, because that is a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll give you a Virginia Tech example, since I was talking to his mother, a Hokie grad. It's been really durable since Beamer. Like, it's been really bad there. 2 bad coaches. I mean, so we're going on a decade of Sucktown.
But fans are still going.
And Lane Stadium's still full.
Yeah.
So UVA was even good this year, and they can't fill their stadium. I know. Well, I guess what would have been 20 Hokie fans that needed tickets at the last minute to the Virginia Tech UVA game at Scott Stadium. No problem.
There's still the advantage. There's not a lot competing with it. That's a great thing here in Utah versus on Miami and some of these other areas we talk about. There's not a lot competing with Utah football if you are in the Salt Lake Valley on Saturdays in the winter.
I just wonder how desperate they should be. I wonder how durable Utah football's fan culture, support, all that stuff really is.
I'm one other area, and I know we're over, so I don't want to talk too much about this. I am curious how many schools will follow. Tons. And then the question I have that I'm a little worried about is this the ACC TV deal where, you struck first, but did you leave a lot on the table that, just by being first, maybe you didn't see all the, ups and downs or the pitfalls?
Yes.
Yes. There are pitfalls that you're going to find yourself in that other schools will weasel their way out of that is more financially beneficial.
Lair Bear Scott signed the first TV deal in 2010, and then every league followed suit. Mm-hmm. Guess who got paid less than everybody else?
Right, yeah. So that
setting the market sometimes isn't the thing you want to do.
No, and that's what I'm curious. Was Utah smart to get as much as they could before all these schools, before the market of buyers dries up? Because all the schools want to sell. So does it become a seller's market or a buyer's market, and how does that affect Utah getting this, proposed $500 million?
Do you think the University of Utah Athletic Department is more valuable than Nebraska?
Probably not.
No, is the answer.
Yeah, because you've got this 100,000 fan base every season, or
and
every week.
And they became a nationwide fan base in the 90s, and there's still stuff that hangs on to that. So they're going to negotiate more than whatever Utah got.
Yeah, a handful of Big 12 schools should be able to. Every SEC school should be able to. Every Big 10 school will be able to. Several ACC schools.
If you don't need to, you won't. I mean, that's what the Big 10, USC, and Michigan thing was all about. The Big Ten wanted to do this as a league, and those two schools said no, because why would they?
Well, do you think
don't
they
need
said
to.
no because they can do it themselves and get a much bigger piece of the pie if they do it themselves? But you're right, they don't need to. Why even introduce the
Why
middleman?
would you do it?
Yeah.
Why would you sell your
yes,
program to
that's a good
somebody
point.
when you don't need to?
Yeah.
If you're Michigan, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Speaking of packing a 100,000-seat stadium every week.
Yeah. Christian, was that your voice I just heard?
All right, top
Do you not
3
have a
stories
voice?
of the day.
Oh, okay. I thought you lost your voice. I know you've been sick the last few days. You were extremely raspy. I
Okay.
don't know. Christian can't talk at all.
Top 3 stories coming up next, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to break down the biggest stories of the day. This is the top 3 stories of the day on KSLSports.com. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson, thank you for making us part of your day. It's time for the top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com. Brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. All right, Christian, where do you want to start today?
Number one, yesterday we kind of joked about Notre Dame joining the Big 12. That's probably not going to happen, Jake. Your guy Bert was taking shots.
I will say this, and I'm a little outspoken about it. I don't like how Notre Dame's reacted to it.
So,
Okay,
said,
I think Pete's his behavior has been egregious. It's been egregious going after Jim Phillips when they saved Notre Dame during COVID. We all knew, and it was very transparent. Hunter was very transparent about it. The chair, that as Notre Dame and Miami got closer together, head-to-head would be a factor. Okay? BYU lost. They became closer together, head-to-head, and made a difference in that decision. So I think he is totally out of bounds in his approach, and if he was in the room, I'd tell him the same thing.
Yeah, obviously he's not afraid to go after Notre Dame there. And when he says, the ACC saved them, it's because during COVID they allowed Notre Dame to play a 9-game season, all against ACC opponents, which was good for the ACC as well. But, he essentially said that he doesn't like the way that Pete Bavacqua is treating the commissioner at the ACC after feeling like they got left out.
All right. Now, I realized that Bert made his bones by throwing grenades and really masterfully outmaneuvering the Pac-12. Mm-hmm. He did.
Yeah,
he deserves credit for that.
He killed the Pac-12.
He did. He killed it. And he did it with a massive PR campaign that really worked out. I remember Mark Harlan calling, who was it, Dennis Dodd, fake news or something like that. He did.
Like that?
So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, especially when it comes to public relations. Why has his fire, when he's actually gotten off his duff to do it, why has it been so stop complaining about, start defending BYU. Stop complaining about Notre Dame. He just conceded that BYU should have been out because they lost. He should be clamoring. He should say, hey, you didn't punish Alabama. Why are you punishing BYU? He should be clowning Alabama, or he should be clowning Alabama.
Okay, BYU lost.
But he hasn't been, he's been, for some reason during this whole process, scared of going after either the college football playoff or the SEC or the Big Ten. Why is he going after Notre Dame? Just because if any reason he's going after Notre Dame, he should say, they're being boobs. Buck up, Buttercup. We get screwed all the time. Take it like an adult.
Yeah, I don't.
But I don't get it at all. He shouldn't even care about Notre Dame. He should be complaining about the whole process and that the rules were different for one team than another. That's what he should be doing. He should be advocating for the Cougs, not doing whatever that was about Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand making an enemy out of Notre Dame either. Not because you want to invite them to the Big 12, but because their gripe is the same one you should be having.
You should be having the same complaint.
Yeah, you should be like, yeah, Notre Dame's a good example, and BYU is too, that we feel like we got left out.
We've gotten screwed 2 years in a row.
Yeah, that we have really good teams, and these are teams that should be in.
And last year, the same rule that you're using against Notre Dame, you used it the opposite way against us.
Well, as we have
clowns.
said, and I've been a supporter of Brett, not Brett Yormark, because I think he's done a good job, including killing the Pac-12, which I wish the Pac-12 still existed. Don't get me wrong, though I like BYU and Utah being in the same conference. I didn't think he did a good job this year. I don't think he did a good job selling his teams. I actually don't think why didn't we get in? I don't think that works either. I just think you've got to go out there and champion your teams. I have hated the crybaby stuff that we've seen from BYU's social media pages, from Bert. I don't like the way we've seen that approached versus just going out there and standing on what you've done, because what you've done should be good enough to get you in.
BYU only lost one game, 5 team in this gauntlet of a conference that we have. It's basically the NFC East.
Right.
And somehow BYU made it through with just one loss and then played an amazing team in our championship game. Why
you can do two things. You can say, hey, Texas Tech is the best team in the country, and I can't wait to put them up against the best team from every other conference because we think Texas Tech is the best team, and they're going to beat Ohio State, and they're going to beat all these teams. Say it. Who cares?
And the only team BYU lost to was that team.
That team, right. That way you prop up Texas Tech as being the best team in the country, and your second best team is they only lost to them. That's it. That's all you have to say. And I'm with you. He's getting this weird.
Did you hear him though?
Battle with an independent team that it doesn't make any sense to me.
Did you hear him concede that where he's like BYU lost, so all of a sudden Notre Dame and Miami are the discussion? No.
Okay, BYU lost.
No.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing? You just said, it was the right thing to do to leave BYU out. What are you doing?
Have you heard, while we're talking about the college football playoff, that now the big push, including from some names in the media, is we need to get rid of the college football playoff show, not the rankings. We need to get rid of the show on Tuesday night because the show is what ruins it. That doesn't change anything. In fact, the show conceivably, though as we've said, it's made up, offers some sense of transparency of what you're doing. If you're going to allow the college football playoff committee to totally disappear and not have to answer for anything, I think this is only going to get more egregious. But you're seeing people like Kirk Herbstreit now saying, I think the show makes it worse. The show makes it harder. I think they just want to say, okay, do whatever you want to do, but just do it behind closed doors this time. So this is just, I don't think we're on the verge of this improving. I think we're on the verge of this continuing to get worse.
Yeah. The whole sport. It's not just it's the whole sport. But I don't know what Bert's doing. I don't get it.
I'm with you.
I don't get the strategy. All right, what's next?
Number 2, Utah Mammoth back in action. They are hosting the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers.
We had Cole on yesterday, Cole Bagley, our Mammoth insider. I did think he said something interesting, which is, as much as we've talked about how Bill Armstrong, the general manager for the Mammoth, likes these big bodies, right now the roster is basically built up of small, skilled guys. You know, Cooley, who's out, is a small, skilled guy. Keller is a small, skilled guy. Gunther is bigger, but he's not a huge guy. And the Panthers come in with all these huge bullies. And while they're certainly skilled, they're NHL players after all, it is a physically dominant style of play that the Mammoth don't currently have. And while they've gone out and drafted Maverick Lamoureux and Daniil Boot and Simashev and some of these bigger players, Cole Baudouin, who they drafted a couple of years ago now, is one of these big guys as well. I'll be curious if you can win with the smaller skilled players. The Calgary or the Oilers are small and extraordinarily skilled, have 2 of the probably 5 best players in the NHL on it. And while they made the Stanley Cup Finals, which is nothing to shake a stick at, aren't able to beat these bigger teams.
Why do the Panthers kind of suck this year?
I think everyone stinks a little bit early in the season. I'm not sure they're like major front runners all season long.
They've only got 30 points, though.
What are they at? What's their record?
They're third from the bottom in the Eastern Conference. 14, 12, and 2.
Okay, which is right about where the Mammoth are as well. It's almost exactly what the Mammoth's record is. Yeah,
they have 30. They have 31 points.
The Mammoth have 31.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
14, 14, and 3.
I honestly don't know. Slow start. We've seen a lot of bad teams, though. Like the Oilers were not off to a very hot start. The Jets weren't off to a terrifically hot start. So I do think maybe it's a little more bunched up early.
What's next?
How about that comeback last night, huh? The Great Cougar Comeback of 2025.
No, you have to say the Great Cougar Comeback again, because that's all this team does.
The Great Cougar Comeback again.
Another Great Cougar Comeback.
That's all they do is make these just crazy, wild comebacks at the end after just dreadful first halves. I mean, I don't know, Ben, are they playing with their food? Is it?
I think a little bit. Yeah, I think they're slow to get off the mat. It's amazing. Look, being able to do this is a good thing. I'm not trying to say that that's not accurate. Like, not hanging your head, not allowing a 20-point lead or a 9-point.
What was it, 21 last night or 23?
22?
I think it was. Was that it?
Whatever it was. Yeah. Not allowing these deficits to bury you.
It was 21 at half.
Okay, is a good thing. I think it got up to 22 in the second half, but neither here nor there. Not giving up when you're down this big is a good thing, and ideally can develop some muscle. And Clemson's a fine team. It's not the
They're
best
an
of the
ACC
Big
team.
12, but it's a fine team. Yeah, it's a competitive team. They did the same thing with UConn. They ended up only losing by 2. It's their only loss of the season. You just got to be careful doing this, though, because eventually you are going to run into teams that don't give up these leads once they build them. Houston's not going to give up this lead. Iowa State's not going to give up this lead. Arizona's not going to give up this lead. And other good Big 12 schools probably will not give up this type of lead. So, yes, it's amazing they can do it. It's awesome that A.J. DeBonsa is so talented that he can have 22 points in the second half after a bit of a slow start himself. Kebaketa is incredible. He's just a really valuable player to have. It's nice that you can win without Richie Saunders playing great. Was he 2 of 11 last night?
Yeah.
Did not shoot well at all.
Not his night.
So if you can do that, that's excellent. And then the fact that I think Rob Wright's probably been better than I had expected.
Yeah, he's really good.
Shooting the heck out of the ball, which was his big issue with Baylor. He really loved to dribble and he really loved to shoot, and he wasn't great at shooting. He's done a much better job of that. So his growth has been really important.
Well, a game-winning 3 is pretty good.
Hitting a buzzer beater at MSG, right?
Yeah.
to win it is pretty awesome. So that's great. They are, 9-1 now on the season?
Yeah, I just wonder if it's a sign they're vulnerable because they're not going to be able to get away with that stuff. I mean, they're playing good teams, so maybe they will, but I would imagine on a night in and night out basis in the Big 12, you're not going to get away with giving up big leads and then reeling them back in the second half. So
totally agree.
I don't know if that's a sign of weakness or a sign of...
Again, it's better to be able to come back than not.
Sure.
But you would rather not have to come back.
Yeah, right.
You don't want to be down 20 twice already in the
No.
year with the top 10 team in the country.
You want to outscore them 45-21 in the first half.
Yeah. Yep. And put them away
And
because
put
they
them
will
away.
quit.
Yeah, right.
BYU's next 4 games are nothing, kind of wrapping up the end of the December schedule. And then you start getting into Big 12 play, which will get very interesting. But, bowl season now when we're talking about BYU athletics.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have more coming up next. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The sports you love, the teams you can't live without.
Get a sense of urgency!
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben on a Win Ticket Wednesday. Let's give away some tickets. Caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. You win 2 tickets to go see Toto with special guest Christopher Cross and the Romantics at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater August 21st. Caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. Ben, I can't believe we didn't put this at number 1 story on Top 3 Stories of the Day at KSLSports.com. This may be the most important thing happening in Salt Lake.
Oh.
Not just the
Okay.
sports community.
I thought you were going to say the Chicago White Sox won the number 1 overall pick in the MLB draft lottery last night.
No, nobody cares about that.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Real Housewives of Salt Lake alum
finally.
Jen Shaw has been released from a federal prison camp 3 years, basically, early, thanks to good behavior.
Yeah, it kept getting chopped down. I didn't see that she was
She
out.
was released
I'm
today. So the wife of Sharif Shaw, what is Sharif's technically the cornerbacks coach?
Yeah, I don't know if it's DBs in general or corners, but
Or for Utah. And of course, Utah legend. His wife became a reality TV star, ended up going to prison for 3 years for fraud, and now is released.
Per NBC News, since we're an affiliate, Jen Shaw was released from the federal prison on Wednesday, more than 4 years early from her 6.5-year sentence. Federal Bureau of Prison spokesperson confirmed. Shaw's been moved from a federal prison camp, a minimum security federal prison camp in Texas, to community confinement overseen by the Bureau of Prisons. So she's still behind bars?
Well, it sounds like she's been released in like a halfway house or whatever.
Yeah.
Community.
A minimum security federal prison in Texas to a community confinement overseen by the Bureau of Prisons.
That's being free. That's just your...
Yeah, sure.
So Jen's out. I might have to start watching that show again.
If she's going to come back?
Oh, she was the best part.
You think they're going to allow her back on? I mean, I know the Real Housewives are going to want her more than anybody, right? This is a star now. There's some, with all due respect, infamy in this person, which really is what sells.
You know what is a wild thing? And I think says a lot about Coach Witt and his influence and how much, I guess, respect people have for him, I suppose. You could look at it this way. How on earth has he kept a lid on all of this? He hasn't been asked about this once. A member of his staff was on a reality television show with his wife because Sharif was on that show. First of all, I can't believe Witt would even I mean, I guess you can't
Greenlight
tell
it?
somebody not to do something, but I can't believe.
But you can fire people. You can fire coaches for whatever reason you want.
I can't believe that has been a thing. And then for it to be such a dramatic thing and her to go to prison.
Yeah.
And it hasn't touched his football program at all. Like, not a bit. Sharif hasn't been asked about it. Witt hasn't been asked about it. There's been no drama.
I do have some bad news for you.
Uh-oh.
Despite Shaw's popularity on the Bravo show,
Is she not coming back?
Andy Cohen, who executive produced the Salt Lake reality show, shot down speculation last week about Shaw's possible return to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I wish her all the best in her next life. I would assume she'll wind up on a reality show of some kind, but won't be anything I'm working on, Cohen said on his radio show, Radio Andy. I don't know if I could see Bravo working with her again.
We'll see. Listen, I don't follow the Bravo verse very much. I've watched this show, but I am aware of Andy Cohen's brand and what he's all about. And I don't think that honesty is necessarily. He's a promoter. He's built that whole thing. He's executive producer, but he also, he's a promoter of all that stuff. He's just going to promote the drama. I mean, that's the idea behind the show in the first place, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are. Again, I don't know anything about Jen Shaw. I've never watched the show. My only loose affiliation to her is I know what her husband does for a living, and I've probably talked to him 3 or 4 times in my life. Never about his wife, obviously. Worse people than Jen Shaw are all over the television.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And get starring shows on Bravo and more.
Oh, I got to tell you, I certainly don't approve of her breaking the law, but I am a time served kind of guy. I'd 1,000%.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd 1,000% tune back into the Real Housewives of Salt Lake if Jen Shaw was back on it. She was the best character.
Okay.
By best, some people would say worst, but she was the most
the biggest draw.
Intriguing character, in my opinion, by a mile.
And yeah, it is hard to replace stars. And if she's a star, a reality TV star, they get lots of opportunities.
So I don't believe our guy for a second.
Yeah. Whether it's his show or another, he's right. Jen Shaw will be back on TV soon and making more money than she did before.
The sports connections with that show is kind of hilarious. Yeah. An ex-wife of a BYU basketball player.
Uh-huh. Dave Rose was on the show, right?
No, Dave. No.
Oh, okay.
Ronnie Mack was on the show.
Oh, Ronnie Mack was on the show.
Briefly.
Okay. I thought there was an affiliation with Dave Rose.
There is an affiliation with Dave Rose.
Okay, but it's not Dave Rose
It's
himself.
his brother, Justin.
Okay.
But it's not.
It's not Dave.
It's not Dave.
I apologize to Dave Rose.
I get the feeling that he wants to be separate from that. They don't refer to Dave on the show at all.
Okay.
At all. Like, Sharif's actually on the show. They do not talk about BYU. They don't talk about Dave. They don't talk about any of that stuff.
All right. My apologies.
All right.
To the great Dave Rose.
Stay tuned.
I mean that honestly.
It's Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.